Snowmageddon day. I don't even know. The people are frozen. The kids have lost their marbles. I don't even know what day it is, Marcus. How are you?
I'm pretty good, man. We got salt trucks and was at work about an hour early today.
I don't even know what a salt truck is, man. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome. Good morning. Hello. Kyle Evans out of Baton Rouge, Louisiana, formerly known as the Bayou, now known as the Popsicle down south, and the amazing, swole, handsome, just all around successful Marcus Heflin out of Tennessee and Connecticut now, baby.
Come on now. Why not have two states? The one's just not good enough. Let's do this. Welcome everybody to the G.R.O.W show. We are so excited that you're here. Excited to bring yet another show and a special guest that you know him, you love him. We're excited to bring him back. He is a fellow bowl coach. He is also a real estate connoisseur. Let's bring him up. Dustin, Kimberly, what's up, my man? How you feeling today, buddy?
What's up, guys? I should have known if I would have known I would have wore black today. And I know that was a theme with you guys, but
you just wanted to stand out, man. Hey, you're a peacock. We got to let you fly, buddy. That's all it is. That's it. Oh, man, Dustin, good morning, dude. Thank you for being here. We had a really good pre-show here with Dustin. Dustin, for those people who don't know you out there, who are you? What do you do? Why do we like you?
Yeah, I don't know about the last one, honestly. I keep wondering why I keep getting invited back. No, but good to see you guys. Love y'all's podcast. It's awesome. It's been really taken off. My name is Dustin, Kimberly. I am a managing director of Place Institutional. It's a national operating platform for real estate teams. And then I also own a residential real estate team in the Atlanta market where we help buyers and sellers, just like a lot of folks on this show. So, and I'm also a maps coach with you guys. Go around the country, spread the good word. You know what I'm saying, right? That one come up in February 13th. If you're in Orland Park and a popsicle in Chicago, hit it.
Hit it. There it is, man. Onward Bold coming to a location near you guys. Go see one of these smiling faces on your screen. Dustin, you said a whole bunch of words there. I want to talk about one of the things we talked about before the show. Place Institutional. For those of the people out there who doesn't understand what institutional means, walk us through that. Like, what does that even mean?
Yeah, so, probably 10 years ago, Blackstone, Invitation Homes, Amherst, a lot of the big hedge funds decided to move into the single-family rental space as an institutional asset class. You guys may all know them as iBuyers. I think everybody on this call would connect more with that. So for 5, 7, 8, 9 years, right, they were buying everything up. And now they are on the backside of that, and they're starting to sell some of that stuff off. So Place Institutional interfaces with the largest single-family rental owners in the United States. And what we do is we create national enterprise-level pricing programs for them to help them dispose and acquire different things in different markets. So we're in all 50 states. We own mortgage, we own title, so we're kind of a one-stop shop for these bigger institutions that own the homes that they own.
So for the people with lower credit scores like myself, essentially what Dustin said was they buy and sell large packages of homes at once, 60, 70, 100, 300 homes, 1,000 homes at one time, and they help these big boys onboard and offload large packages of homes. So whenever I have a deal for a house, Dustin has a deal for 500 houses. That's essentially what he said, guys. Your boy knows real estate backwards and forwards. Is that a fair assessment?
Yeah, I mean, they keep hiring me, so maybe.
So one of the cool things about that, guys, is whenever you're dealing with these large packages, there's a huge pot of gold at the end of the rainbow, obviously. And yet the difference, at least more often than not, from residential to institutional, and Dustin's going to walk us through this, is that commission check, that payday is not 30 or 45 days away. Sometimes it's 1 year, 2 years, maybe even longer away because there's so many moving parts and so many things. Dustin, how does that, I guess, affect your business model, man?
Yeah, no, it's a great question. We were talking about it, before we got on here, kind of backstage, is that in order to have these deals completed, you got to have staying power, right? Like the key to long-term wealth building is mastering delayed gratification. That's kind of what it comes down to. This is how I connect it to my folks is like, the longer that you wait for something, what do they say in life? Everything worth having is worth waiting for or letting time develop. I mean, we live in a world, make no mistake, folks, right? Like I'm a realtor, right? I'm used to 30, 60, 90-day sales cycles. Marcus gets a lead from my girl Marissa down in Atlanta to Nashville. That's a check in 60 days, right? Like we're hunters. That's what we do. And then all of a sudden you wake up and you're in these rooms where it takes 12, 18, 24, 36 months. But instead of a $10, $12, $15,000 check, it's a 1.1 to, as high as we've been on a $27 million commission check. And so it takes time and it takes a lot of swings too. Like, let's be honest, we're not going to win them all. But it takes time for those relationships to develop. It takes time for those to fall into place. So you got to have, Zig Ziglar said, you got to do your part-time, you got to do your full-time job before you can do your part-time job. So every single day I get up and I still spend my first 2-3 hours a day helping lead generate for my residential real estate team in Atlanta. And then after that, we move over to working on the big long-term deal.
Guys, obviously Dustin has a unique scenario, but I think there's a lot of truth there and a lot of carryover to your current life, especially what he just said there. We've got to do our full-time job before we can do our part-time job. Someone like Marcus who has multiple businesses and is a coach on top of it. Some of those things are his full-time job and some of those things are his part-time job. Marcus, for the people out there, like, how do we do that? Like, how does that work? How does that show up for us? Like, what does that even look like?
Yeah, man, I think Dustin's articulating it really well. And I want to take a step back from one thing that you said and mentioned. Sometimes that delayed gratification can mean the world of difference. I heard something this past week. Shout out to Mark King for dropping this knowledge on us. He said one of the most expensive line items on your P&L or on your expense report is your ego. And he describes debt as, he says, debt equals our inability to be more patient for whatever we're looking to acquire. And so the greater your debt, I'm gonna guess, or he's gonna guess based on his definition, that your patience is way low. So I wonder, delayed gratification on commissions, how long are you willing to wait for those big checks? And in the meantime, I love what he said, I'm showing up for my daily job, and then I've got these big projects in the works. My daily job pays the bills, my big projects builds my wealth. And I'm sure at some point that daily job will build the wealth as well. But I love that balance. And I think that Dustin would agree, when you've got a lot of irons in the fire or you're juggling a lot, first and foremost, you've got to realize you're going to fall short from time to time, but don't take those failures and that falling short as a step back. Take it as, okay, I kind of sucked today on following my calendar. I didn't communicate. I double booked. All right, how do I improve and not do that again moving forward? Who do I need to talk to? What different systems do I need to put in place? The ownership group that I've got here, it has been remarkable to watch them work, because you talk about juggling a lot. They have 73 doors. They have 5 market centers. They're still teaching, like pouring into folks. And the balancing act comes down to just a couple key items. It's one, show up early and show up consistently. And then number 2, really guard your time. I think that's most important. Yeah, I told our team, Kyle, in one of our group sessions, I said, this is not the year for chit chat for me, right? This is the year of, like, if we're talking, let's talk. I
don't know
love chit chat.
I don't know if there was ever a year for chit chat for you, Marcus. So if you say there's no chit chat, we're just not talking.
Well, I'm just saying, there's a lot of times where a 30-minute Zoom is scheduled when you could have it knocked out in 7 to 10. Right. and it's taken a little bit of expectations. I love what Kyle has always said, unspoken expectations lead to unmet expectations. But when your team expects you to show up and be versus, well, he didn't ask me about my dog. Well, I don't right now, I don't care about your dog, but hit me up at like 5:30 and we can talk about your dog when I'm on the way home. Right. And right now it's time to grow, because the opportunity in 2025, gentlemen, I think I can say it for all of us, we can take a lot of market share right now if we show up right.
Well, listen, I want to throw this out there. It's like, I think that we have this constant focus of, you're spot on, Marcus. I think we have this constant focus of where we're at in our own lives, like from an ego perspective. And it's like, let's all take a step back, right? When you actually, Ray Dalio in Principle talks about life cycles, your 20s, your 30s, your 40s, your 50s, your 60s. And let me just be completely honest. None of us in our 30s or 20s have earned anything, right? And in fact, most people would agree you ain't smart enough for anything till you're 50 because you ain't had enough life, right? So it's like, you've got a job, which is to get up and grind. You know what I mean? And it's like, because you're planting a tree you're going to sit under in your 40s and your 50s. And oh, by the way, holla, if you want to take it from 73 to 1,000 doors up there, let me know. I can help with that. Okay. I can help with that.
Hey,
you do it in one swing, by the way. We ain't got to do that one at a time. I could do it all at once.
Why would you wait, right? Delayed gratification. Now let's just get this. Now you're going the opposite. You're tempting people. Hey, so I had a cool story yesterday. We had a regional event, and I got the opportunity to be about 2 hours in a car, right, with the group. And you know me, and with my questions, and I got into it with them, and I just got a little bit of their backstory. And all you hear from successful people, or you see, is what their current life is, right?
Mm-hmm.
I love what you just said, the decades, and you broke them down. 20s and 30s are when you are grinding, when you're earning your education, especially in real estate. And hey, shout out to every mega and every multimillionaire already in their 20s and 30s. Great job. And you still don't know what all you need to know.
Sure.
Right. If you have that level of success, imagine what your 40s and 50s look like, if you so choose.
Right.
Because I talked to them yesterday, and they didn't start building their empire until they were almost 35 to 39 years old. And when I say start the empire, I'm talking like their first investment property making 2 total doors, including their prime. Sure. Like, oh, and balloons. Yeah, we're celebrating. And it's one of those that no matter where you are, don't feel like you're behind. It's just the next decision that's going to get you closer to where you could be.
Well, I'm going to add to that, Marcus, and this might sting out there. Are we allowed to get real on this show for our audience?
That's the only con we know how, Dustin.
All right, good. Well, I'm going to be straight up, right? The real question you got to ask yourself, because we're in real estate. So over the past 7 to 10 years, this will hurt for a lot of people to hear this. Did you get better or did the market get better?
Woo!
That hurt.
When you think about it, right? Like I know people, including my wife and I, who are net worth, including folks on this call, who are net worth, right? Our measuring stick of net worth has increased. And sometimes we look at it and we're like, yeah, no, you didn't. You got hit by the market. That's what you did. You got hit by the market. So you might be in your mid-30s listening to this. You might be in your 20s and you got into real estate at 19 and you're 28 and you might be a millionaire. That doesn't mean you're any smarter than any other 28-year-old or any other 35-year-old or any other 45-year-old, right? Like, I don't know. If you look at the market trajectory going straight up, there's a lot of people floating out there right now that's like, yeah, I did it. No, you were in the market when it happened. That's great. We still have a lot of learning to do.
Yeah, let me tie a bow on that because I think what you have is a really good base layer foundation. It's the difference between real estate agents and real estate professionals is the real estate agent is impacted by the swings of the market. The real estate professional has a system, has a model, has a business that has the staying power, that has the wherewithal, that has the treads on the tracks to handle any market. And so I was hurt by what you said. Whenever we went up, right? I wasn't a real estate professional, or I wasn't exceeding at the professional level that I want to be at, or that I know now I need. I was affected by the market. The market was doing well. And then when it slowed down, it helps realize, for those of us who have self-awareness and want growth, it helps us spot the gaps in the holes, in the lack in our business. So some of you out there may have been the professionals and capitalize on the market. The majority of us, though, were just along for the ride.
Yeah. For sure. I used to have a coach that used to say in my residential business, said, here's how we're going to calculate your growth. I want you to look at what your growth was year over year. Okay. Right now, I want you to subtract out what the market growth was.
Ooh, yes.
That's your real growth. So if you grew 120% and the market's up 15, you only got 5% better. We got to do some work.
Man, that is such a great way and a great example of numbers equal the language of sales and business. Like that's how you look at numbers, ladies and gentlemen. It's not just a spreadsheet and your eyes go crossed. That's how you dive into numbers. We were very similar. And for any of our leadership out there, the New York tri-state area had their regional yesterday, and they threw up on the board that nationwide, KWRI, was down like 11 or 12%. Forgive me for not remembering completely on recruiting or appointment set, right? Then I looked at our team, and they had, I'm coming in new, right? And they had hit a certain number, and they had told me that number was the number. And I said, awesome. I did the exact same thing. I said, if the market went down 10, why didn't our effort go up 10? Just to match the year before. And Dustin, man, when you think about tracking numbers and knowing your trends, I hear multi-year trend report. I hear, our past experiences are leading us down certain decision roads. There's a team here called Fit and Fashion, and they do a lot of staging and a lot of things. And here's their trajectory: 32 million, 36 million, 73 million. And this track, and this year they're on track for 75 million. Now you may ask, okay, what's going on? They lost a big agent with a lot of production this year, so they're compensating for that. And yet, what they did on their board, and you've seen it hundreds of times, right? They've got it on a wall, and they've got January, and they've got their closings and the customer name and everything. What they did though, Dustin, was they took it up a notch, and they.
And he had something real good.
So good. That was very anticlimactic. I'm just not even going to know what that was, but I bet it was awesome.
He's still going right now, too, by the way. He doesn't
probably
even know.
Is. Probably is. Right,
he's coming back. He's
Don't
trying
worry.
to make.
So, I mean, I think there's a lot of truth in one of the things that he was saying there, and I'm sure he'll get to it. It's having the scoreboard up, and so you're always watching, right? So you know where you're at. And I think that's you, and that's part of the knowing where the market is and adjusting. Marcus, we're so excited about what you were going to say.
Yeah, we were like on the edge of our seats. We're like,
so they put their customer's name up. But what they did was they had the price range and the GCI, so they knew and could track their numbers. They took it up a notch though to keep themselves in check. One, if it's a record month, they put record month. If it's a record month of all time, cool, they put that on there as well. So like, is this your best January, or is it the best month of your career? So those are the two designators. And then underneath it, they track the last 2 years of the same month. It's right there in front of them at all times, and it stays on their office. So each and every month, they're seeing how they're stacking. They're seeing what the last 2 years are, so they know what a $32 million month or $32 million year looks, and they know what a $72 million year looks, right? So how are we trending? How are we doing? And they can make constant adjustments. You guys, if you have 2 years in the background, cool. If you don't, then all you do is put on your goal as opposed to where you are. And where do you intend? How much are you staying in relationship with where you intend to be? So it's tracking, it's trends, it's the whole thing.
And I'm hearing something from you, because we started this group, this new place institutional group, probably every bit of 15 months ago. And it was kind of like a startup, right? Like, we've all got teams, and then all of a sudden there's this new thing. So I had to go back to my original startup days. And like what I'm hearing from you, Marcus, is when you say the word relationship to the goals, the only word I'm hearing is pulse. How often are you visiting your goals? How often are you visiting your team? I mean, me and my other director and our other associate on the institutional side, we talk 6, sometimes 7 times a day, because we're putting this deck together. We're putting this proposal together. We got this meeting. We got this conversation. We got this LOI, right? It's like boom, 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 boom. But yet it's growing so fast. If you read Rockefeller Habits, it says that you can look at the cadence of meetings inside of your world with either your team or your business plan, and the cadence of meetings, the frequency, will show the growth of your business. Think about that for a second. So if you're meeting, like, think about it this way: how often do startups meet? Every hour.
Yeah.
Like, hey, dude, I did this. What do we do here, right? But how often do corporations meet? Once a quarter. But a startup has what? 100% growth a year? 200% growth a year? It's pretty interesting. Rockefeller Habits, read it. Meeting cadence. Pretty badass.
That's great. I love that.
Dude, that's a good one. So, guys, basically all that you're hearing here is, one, you got to get away from instant gratification. It just ain't going to work. It's just not how things are done. You've heard me say it before. I'll say it again. Success is made in a crock pot and not a microwave. We got to understand and have appropriate time horizons. The other thing that you're hearing from these guys here is awareness and staying in relationship with your goals and also paying attention to your growth or your unfortunate decline.
Mm-hmm.
Are you growing? And then the second question, are you growing outside of the relationship with the market?
Mm-hmm.
Guys, if you are up and killing it year over year for the past 24 months, you're probably doing pretty well, man. Congratulations. Here's a cookie. Way to go. Way to fight for yourself and your family. And if you're not, that's okay. But let's make sure that we are at least staying where we need to stay.
Mm-hmm.
At the bare minimum, staying where we need to stay. And I think, Marcus, the question that you asked to the leadership team is an amazing and simple question. If we're down 10%, why did we not raise our intentionality, our focus, our productivity 10%? It's that simple, and it's just such an elusive question for so many of us.
Love it. Tracking numbers keeps you on track, right? What's the market doing? How am I showing up for it? How do I need to show up next month? You can lose a month. You can lose a quarter. We just ask you don't lose the year. And it only takes your insight and what numbers you're looking at. Dustin, man, thank you again for joining us, buddy. It's been a powerful 23 minutes. Do you have any final thoughts for anybody out there listening in?
First of all, if anybody gets a chance to send Marcus like a high five or a attaboy. He did move to Connecticut from Tennessee. Not sure why, but hey, shout out to the Marcus Sickle. Okay, like we just in the popsicle moment. You live the Marcus Sickle moment. So
yeah.
No, I don't know. I mean, I think at the end of the day, just get out there and grind. Like 2025 is like just grind it out. You know what I'm saying? Like I don't want it to be lost. I know we're on a motivational podcast, and I know that we're all MAPS coaches and bold coaches, but let's not be lost. Right now, it's a little challenging, and that's okay, right? This is the hard that we chose. This is the hard that we're built for. And let's not be lost. Anybody else out there listening? Maybe you guys, maybe 19, 20, 2021, you maybe made money you didn't deserve. Just saying, right? That market was doing that. You're like, all right, man, I think and then all of a sudden, 2024 hits, interest rates change, and you're like, right? So you keep grinding, folks. Just keep grinding, right? Because that's what 25 is about. It's about making winners. And just like you said, Kyle and Marcus, 25 is about taking market share. Keep grinding.
Let's go, baby.
That's really it.
There's a very old quote, and it essentially goes like this: nothing is sadder than the person who comes to the end of their life untested, for they will never know what they were truly capable of.
That's right.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, thank you for joining us. Shout out Dustin, Kimberly in the Atlanta area if you got anything. Or, guys, if you're lead generation, you find someone who's got a large package of homes and wants to get into institutional, Dustin is your guy. And go check us out in a bold room near you, man. We'll be there, and we'll be happy to join you. Other than that, have a great Thursday.